All right, what's up, guys? So in the last video that I did, it's kind of going over the difference in materials and the D loops that I'm using, the BCY 23 that I'm using now versus the 24. So I'm gonna do a quick video now on how I install my D loops, and a big reason I'm doing it is because I've learned after using this BCY 23 burns a lot differently than the 24. So when you're using that 24, so a lot of you guys have probably what you're using now or what you've seen, what a lot of pro shops are going to use. It melts and burns really well. This 23 is a little bit of a pain. So I've already wasted a decent amount of it trying to figure out how I want to do it and how I like it. So you get a good ball at the end of this. Just because it burns so different. So I'm going to show you guys kind of the whole process of how I do it, how I melt it, how I put it on, and then just show you, hopefully make it a little easier if you want to try it. So I start out, I cut off about 4.5, 5 inches of it. It's pretty much all you need. I'm going to start out using these needle nose pliers, probably getting to the amount that I want to melt. So I'm going to do, I don't know how much that is, maybe a ½ inch. Start out with about that. Hold it tight. So I'm going to use these pliers so that when it does melt, you get a smooth edge that it's melting to on the bottom. So like I said, this stuff burns really differently. So start out about there. I'm going to melt it down to these pliers. I'm gonna rotate it a little bit, get this other edge, keeping it against the pliers. Once I'm done, hit it just a little bit, smooth it out. So that right there gives you a nice catch, nice little ball right at the end of it. What I used to do with that 24 is you mushroom it out, make a big, big fluff ball out of it, and then you melt it down and it gives you a nice stuff. This stuff, you don't have to do that. Like I said, I found using the pliers helps and burn it to it. If not, it just falls and it gets all weird. But either way, that's how I do it. That's how we start. So you got a good catch on the end of it. Then now start the install. So hopefully you guys will be able to see it pretty good. So I don't burn both ends and then tie it on. So I'll burn one end, get it started, and then I'll show you why and pull it down tight from there. If you're using a handheld for a right-hand shooter, this is important to where you know if your loop's on the right way or if it's on backwards. So if you're a right-handed shooter, you want this catch facing you at the bottom. So when you start, if you do that backwards, then you're adding torque into it. So you want it to naturally turn. So when your hands turn, you want that D loop to be turned that way so you're not creating any torque when you do pull it back on the string. So knots facing away from you on the bottom. So start, make a loop, bring it up, put both ends through. And when I do this, I'm gonna be squeezing these ends together. So I'll push them together so it stays tight. So then when you do pull it, you're gonna catch on that little ball. So I'll make sure I'm pushing them together as I'm pulling, keeping it tight. Keep pulling, pushing together tight. Then, once So I get it about here. And I also want to make sure that I'm lining up my peep sight. So one thing you might want to make sure is this loop ends up lined up with your peep sight, so when you're pulling back, your peep's not all out of whack. So that'll help. If you can try to get it lined up to about where it is. Mine's turned a little bit, so I'm going to turn the D-loop a little bit with it. Either way, got this bottom one on. Now what I'm going to do is cinch that down. So I make sure these are tight together so there's no gap. That ball's on top of both sides. Get it about straight where I want it. And I'm going to hold this down. I'm going to take the end of these pliers, wrap it, and then pull. Right? And that's going to cinch that down, taking the slack out. And you're going to start so that end's tight. So now that's not going anywhere. Now, next thing I'm going to do is tie on the other side. So one thing that I do, a lot of people do this different. I do a soft knot on the top and the bottom of my knot. A lot of people say you just need it on the bottom. Some people don't do it at all. The whole reason behind it, from what I found, is so you don't get any knot pinch. If you just do a loop on there with no soft knots, that D-loop is going to squeeze down and pinch your knot. I do it top and bottom because when I'm changing them out, it makes it super easy. You know exactly where it goes, exactly where to tie it in. You may not need the top. You may just need the bottom. It's all opinionated. I'm sure both ways work fine. For me, though, doing it myself, this is the easiest way. Like I said, it makes it easier for changing it out. I know that loop is not going to slide down and pinch my knot because these soft knots are going to keep it right in place. So once you get this bottom cinched down, then you're going to go under the string, back up through, back around the front, and then come back through. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to get that about where I want it. You don't want too short of a loop, but I also don't like them too long. You can change your draw length with how long or how short that loop's going to be. So I get it to a decent amount where I want it. It's probably pretty close. Because then once you do get it set and you cinch it down, it's going to get longer. So that's about where I want to start with it. Get it pretty good. Set. And so what you're going to see too now is these catches are going to be on the opposite side. So like I said, bottom facing you if you're a right-handed shooter, top away from you. And like I said, that just puts the D-loop in that natural turn that you want it to be in for a right-handed shooter. So got that about where we want it. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this, except I don't burn this against the loop. So I'm going to get it to about the same length, probably that half-inch length I think is about what it is. I haven't measured exactly. But I'm going to get it to about that same length, hold it with the pliers, and then burn it against the pliers so it creates that same catch, but I'm not burning it to my loop because to me it just isn't a good idea. So we're going to cut a little bit of this off. Careful not to cut your strings when you're doing that. So I've got about that same amount that we did on the top. Then take these pliers and I'm going to hold this right at the base of the loop. So then just burn right to it. That's about where I want. Loops out of the way. That should give me a good ball right there. And we're going to burn it, flame going up. And the pliers really help to give you a good smooth catch on the bottom. Again, I don't know that matters, but to me it makes more sense. That's what's rubbing up against, you know, the knot of your loop. So now I've got a nice little catch there on the bottom. You can see I melted that down. And then I'm just going to take that slack out and work that slack out and cinch it down. So from here, let that cool off too. Give it just a second so you're not cinching it down right while it's hot. So that's a pretty good ball right there. So making sure you're squeezing these together so they're tight as you're working this out. Kind of work that out. Get that tight right against it. And then making sure I'm good with my peat. So what I like to do before I do knocking pliers, I like to just regular pliers, smooth on both sides. Put that in there, kind of work that slowly up, take some of this slack out. Make sure I'm getting those tight together. Pinch tight. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna cinch it down with this. If you need to, you can kind of pinch these bottoms together. Like I said, I like them just tight where I know that that catch is not coming out. It's not gonna pull through there. And then I take some knocking pliers to really cinch it down. So I'll put this in here, put it there, give it one good tug, and then you're gonna be good. So finished product, this is what you're gonna look like. So you got soft knot. Like I said, I do top and bottom. Make sure that you're doing your catches on the opposite side with the bottom facing you for right-handed shooter. If you're left-handed shooter, it's gonna be opposite. So this creates that natural, if you look down the string, it's gonna curve with the release as you're going. So that's the whole idea of doing them on the opposite sides. Again, mainly doing this video because this material is a lot different. It burns a lot different. So I found burning it against those pliers, for me, gives me the best finished product. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you can get something out of it. And thanks for watching.